morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Tuesday, the 20th day of August, year of our Lord 2019, and welcome to the John Moore Show. The prepper tip of the day, I give this out frequently, but it's very foundational to people having a very comfortable life, and that would be, believe it or not, merino wool socks. If you've heard this before, it's not news if you're a new listener. It may sound counterintuitive to have a radio talk show host telling you to wear merino wool socks when it's, like yesterday here, 92 degrees with almost 100% humidity. But that's what I'm doing. I've been wearing them now for, I guess, about 18, 19 years. I was out doing manual labor yesterday. It was 92 degrees, very high humidity. My clothing was literally soaking wet. My shirt, my jeans, and my feet were comfortable. My feet were comfortable because I wore merino wool socks. They're cool in the summer. They're warm in the winter. They seem to last almost forever, it seems like. So that's your prepper tip of the day. We have a patient waiting in the green room, my friend Steve Ben Noon. Steve is a gentleman who is staying on top of things, giving us updates, exchanging information with myself, and it's always fun to have him on here. Good morning, Steve. Steve, you're on mute. Okay, it looks like Steve's not here. Sorry, I got him. I misread a message here. Well, we'll hopefully have Steve back next week. He might have he probably does have a conflict this morning, and hopefully we'll have him back next week. Well, I was off last week, as you know. I was in Washington, D.C. Every second Tuesday of every month at the Trump International Hotel, which is the 19th century post office building, massive, beautiful structure. It would be hard to imagine what it would cost to build the same type of structure with the same materials today. It would be off the charts, crazy expensive. The second Tuesday every month is what they call Trump Tuesday there at that hotel, where the men and women who support the president in various ways get together, exchange ideas on how to support the president and help him get reelected. It was a very productive trip. I met some interesting people. I got some wonderful information. I'm going to be sharing that with you this morning. There's different levels of access to the White House. The highest level, they wear a pass that says, has a big letter A on it. A as in alpha. And they come and go from the White House pretty much whenever they want to. I got to shake hands with one of those people while I was in D.C. I won't mention who that person was. And I spent half an hour with somebody who was very close to that person, and had spent an hour and a half just before I met with this person. So I was talking to this person I spent half an hour with, and I told her that the work she was doing was very important. It would help a lot of people, probably about it, would save a lot of lives. And you need to be doing something the next 14 months anyway, don't you? Before everything comes to a screeching halt because of the Civil War. Well, she scrunched up her nose and didn't respond, which told me everything I needed to know. That she knew that we have basically 14 months before Civil War begins in this country. And that's the point I wanted to make here, ladies and gentlemen. 14 months will fly by. It will fly by. A week from Saturday is the last day of August. And then the following Monday, we'll be talking about 13 months. That's how this is flying by. It will make your head spin how fast 14 months will go by. If you share my concern, some of you do, some of you don't. If you share my concern, you need to figure out what you're going to do to protect yourself and the people you care about. That's what needs to be happening. It should have been happening years ago, but here we are 14 months away from the event. And there's no guarantee that anything's going to happen in 14 months. There's no guarantee we even have 14 months, quite frankly. In the preparation, in the sense that I like to describe it, is another form of insurance. With most forms of insurance, if you're successful in your life and don't have any unusual circumstances, you never need your homeowner's insurance. You never need your car insurance. You never need excessive amounts of health insurance. But the type of insurance I'm talking about, you're acquiring skills, useful skills such as first aid, CPR, life-saving skills, ham radio skills, which is a fun, not terribly expensive hobby. As hobbies go, it's actually pretty much on the low end of what hobbies cost, men and women, boys and girls. Food, you're acquiring food. Well, guess what? You can eat the food. You can't eat canceled checks from that car insurance you never use, can you? Water filters, well, you should have those anyway. I was on this trip, I got reminded of a few times when I didn't have access to good water, didn't have chlorine and sodium fluoride in it. Horrible stuff, what people consume on a daily basis, don't think anything about it. And of course, all the other and sundry items that people get for preparedness. Items to grow a garden, that's pretty good. Take care of animals, that's also nice. Self-defense, well, that's a reality pretty much in the normal times, isn't it? Civil war is something I don't want to see come to this country. I hope it doesn't come. On one hand, on the other, the communist, Muslim, socialist Democrats, they know that Donald Trump will get reelected. They're going to do what they can to stop him. I was at a Republican meeting last night, and they mentioned a Democratic fundraiser locally that had 50 people showed up, and I said, "Oh, that's 20 people more than showed up for Joe Biden up in New Hampshire." Joe Biden drew 30 people at an event. I think they canceled it. They know Donald Trump's going to be reelected. Plan B for the socialists, communists, Democrats, Muslims is to win by causing civil disorder. That's their plan. That's exactly their plan. The Trump International Hotel, where I met and talked with different people, is a beautiful place. I had lunch with my friend I went up there with, and we had a light lunch. It was not a heavy lunch, no dessert, no alcoholic beverages, $80. Now, you can spend more than that on lunch in a lot of places, but that was just a light lunch at a very nice 5-star hotel. I don't know if I'll be going back up there. I've had an invitation to be part of what's going on. If that happens, if it becomes formal, I'll certainly announce it here on this show. Being part of an effort to reelect this president is something that I would cherish and certainly like to be part of, and we'll see if that happens. It won't take away from doing my radio show. We're still going to have our cruise. Did I mention we're going on a cruise? We are. It will be with Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and we're leaving Port Canaveral Saturday, February the 9th, returning a week later, the 16th. We're going to be at sea for 2 days. Then we're going to St. Martin, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and another day at sea. Valentine's Day, by the way, the 14th. And our last port of call is a private island owned by Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. It's called Coco Cay. Coco Cay. Leon Green will be going with us. Sam Andrews is probably no commitment yet. It'll be the first week of October because of his wife's scheduling with her job. She can't firm that up until the first week of October. That's about maybe 5-6 weeks away. You can get the details at my website at thelibertyman.com. If you don't have internet access, you can call Betsy Murphy, our cruise director. She will send you a nice full-color brochure. Her telephone number is 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. My project today is to finish up running Cat 5 cable and some coax and some communications cable between two buildings. We're putting the cable in conduit. The conduit's going underground. Doesn't have to be very deep. It's going to be about an 8-inch trench. We got a 45-foot run between the two buildings. Got most of it done yesterday. Ran out of time. I have a young helper who's going to be helping me wrap this up today. And just another thing that needs to be done here at the ranch. I was walking past a propane line yesterday and noticed that it had suffered damage. It's still intact. It'll be another project to cut off the damaged copper tubing, put on the proper fittings, get it all reconnected, get the gas turned back on, test it for leaks, and then make sure it's protected from further damage. It was not properly protected before. I think somebody ran into it with a two-wheel dolly. Copper tubing is very soft and very easy to damage, by the way. In case you don't know, I'm here to tell you copper tubing is very delicate. It does not take much to damage it. Always projects here at the ranch. Always, always, always. I'll be running another piece of coax between two buildings overhead. We got some issues with the terrain and concrete. That overhead run makes sense for that particular section. That's about 40, 45 feet or so also. We're upgrading all our security here at the ranch, at the resort as we call it, with video cameras in addition to the existing alarm system, and more cameras to come. It's a good system. It's been reliable for us. Gives a little bit of peace of mind. Getting back to 14 months. What does that mean? That means you need to be ready to be on your own. How long? Well, hopefully it won't be too long. If a full-scale civil war gets going in this country, it could be years, easily. Easily. It will change everything. It will change everything in this country forever. There'll be a new normal established, a new normal during the Civil War, and a new normal following the Civil War. Whatever the new normal is following the Civil War, which may be 1, 2, or even 3 years, on hopefully not, it won't be the normal we've got now. It'll be different. It'll be different. I could guess what some of those differences may be, but it will be different. If, that's a huge if, bold type, underlined, if civil war, civil disorder begins in this country, it won't be spontaneous. News media will make it appear to be. Of course they will. It'll be contrived. It'll be planned behind the scenes in Moscow and Peking, Beijing, whatever they're calling it now. They've got their plans all laid out. What they being our enemies, what they plan on is Americans killing each other and using up all their ammunition basically in a 2-week period of time, which most will. You hear all the talk about the more guns than there are people in this country. That's a true statement. That's a true statement on one hand. On the other, ammunition is the weak link. I've lived out here. This is my 19th year, I believe. I'd have to sit down and think about when I moved out here, but I've got to know my neighbors somewhat well. Almost every family has a deer rifle, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, so every family member can have one. Almost none of those deer rifles have more than 40 rounds of ammunition, typically less. Ammunition for deer rifles comes in 20-round boxes. Your average guy or gal out here has one full box unopened and a partial box that they've been working on for maybe several years. They may go out and sight it in before deer season. Then when they actually shoot the deer, it's 1 round, sometimes 2, but typically only 1 round. So you can see how 20 rounds would last for several years and how 40 rounds would last for many years. That's not much ammunition. It's not much at all, not enough to even get through a good-sized firefight. So if you find yourself in that position of being one of those people that only has a couple of boxes of ammo, right now is the time to take care of that. You can buy ammunition online. You can buy ammunition at your local sporting goods store, Walmart, and so forth. Time to be getting it is now. Now, when we have Sam Andrews on Mondays, we get very specific, detailed information on which ammunition is the best. Sam likes Korban. I like Korban. Korban is the most powerful ammunition you can get for any given caliber. It is, for factory loads. And I would not suggest loading anything any hotter than what Korban does. You're going to end up damaging your firearm. Really don't want to do that. Here's a break. Call number is 800-313-9443.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms, or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it. As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have? Do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of August. Yes, we're going on a cruise. If you go to my website at thelibertyman.com, you can read up on this wonderful cruise. You'll meet people that you would never meet otherwise, have lengthy, detailed conversations with myself, with Leon Green, hopefully with Sam Andrews. Nothing definite yet. We'll know in about 5 or 6 weeks. Get the details at my website at thelibertyman.com. We're leaving Port Canaveral Saturday the 9th of February, returning a week later on the 16th. If you don't have internet access, you want a nice full-color brochure mailed to you, Betsy Murphy will do that. Her telephone is 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. The powers that be, and that includes the good guys and the bad guys in this little statement here, they know there's going to be social disorder in 14 months. There's not going to be any warning from the White House, from Nancy Pelosi, or from Antifa. No warning. It's just going to happen. Even though the good guys that know what's happening could warn us, they're not going to. Why won't they do that? Because it would cause even more problems. It would cause disruption to the economy and other things. So that's not going to happen. Now, I'm warning you. Now, you can pay heed to this warning, or you can ignore it. That's your choice, and I respect that. I have no emotional attachment to the outcome of what your choice is. That's purely up to you. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. And I respect that. Myself, I'm getting ready. Checking my inventory, making sure everything is up to snuff. Anything that needs any kind of maintenance, it's getting maintenance. Needs to be repaired, is being repaired. Needs to be upgraded, is being upgraded, and on and on and on. It's a lot. It's a lot. If you let it, it could overwhelm you, but don't do that. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just accept it for what it is. Prioritize. Work within your budget. I'm not going to suggest people go into debt for this. I would not suggest that at all. That's not a wise thing to do for a lot of reasons. If you do go into debt, that's your choice, but I'm certainly not advocating it. Work with what you got. That's what my team sergeant told me in Special Forces. He says, work with what you got. And I've always remember that, and that's the way to get things done, make things happen. This Cat 5 cable I'm running, we ran into issues, and we're dealing with the issues and making do with what we got. That's the way it's done. That's the way all projects can and should be run. Okay. My trip to the East Coast and back was not quite 2,000 miles. Pretty close. Interstate highway, road trip. Typically I was running 70, maybe 72 miles an hour most of the time. Warm summer days, warm summer nights. And when I was on the East Coast, at night getting fuel, My friend and I, we looked up at the bright white lights. He knows my message. We look up at the bright white lights at the service station. Not a single bug. I mean, not a single bug, flying insect. None. Zero. Zappo. None. Now back here in Missouri, where I've been told Midwest is the last refuge for the flying insects, there still aren't the insects you would expect on a warm summer night, swarming by the thousands around bright white lights at a gas station. How about swarming by the tens? I'm serious. Maybe 10 or 12 bugs flying around a bright white light on a warm August evening here in the Midwest. I don't know what's causing the insects to die. Something is. I don't know what it is. A lot of speculation. I need to get back with the British entomologist I've been in touch with. She lives and works in the United Kingdom and writes under a pseudonym. There's a couple of articles on my website that she's written, letters, might be more precise. But it's the world is changing. The ecology is changing. The climate is changing. None of which has anything to do with human activity, unlike what the liberals would like to get you to believe and to buy into. Civil disorder in 14 months. Nothing definite there. In my opinion, however, it's definite enough to be making prudent preparations. That would be smart, wouldn't it? Here's our bottom of the hour break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. Tuesday, the 20th of August. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I was out doing manual labor yesterday, running some Cat 5 cable through some conduit, up and down off of ladders, down on my knees, actually laying on my back and doing some work on my back, on top of rocks, of all things. Did I go to bed with aches and pains? Of course I did. Of course I did. Laying down on rocks is not fun. But I woke up pain-free this morning because I use my energy cleaner, and you can also. Get a great night's sleep, wake up pain-free. Check out the energy cleaner at my website, the mattress pads that go with it. Keep in mind I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you can place your order right there at my website for the energy cleaner and mattress pad, or you can call my toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Well, we have a slightly tardy Steve Ben-Nun with us, and we're going to talk about the events of the day. Steve, give us your website, sir. Good morning. Steve, you're on mute. Hello, Steve.
Yes, you lost me.
Okay. I said good morning, sir, and please give us your website.
IsraeliNewsLive.org. Now we're ready to move on.
Okay, IsraeliNewsLive.org. Well, Steve, you were just at a conference. Anything there that our listeners need to know about at the conference?
You know what, John? We had a fascinating time, but there was something that I was sharing with people there that I think would be very interesting for the listeners here, and it had to do with technology that Israel is using, and of course the individuals they're working with. I had shared some clips. A friend of mine from Israel who had given me permission to use some of the information he was sending to me. So I shared some of the clips that I thought would be appropriate to share without going too deep into things. And I know we've talked about it before here about the entities that Israel works with, but I figured it'd be better to read them directly. And so I'm going to read some of this. This is some of the information received directly from Israel about, when I say entities, well, we can leave that to imaginations. You want to call it aliens, you want to call it fallen angels, you want to call it whatever, that's up to the individual. But here's some of the comments that he made. He said, I had talked to the owner of the Israeli company, question mark, question mark, question mark. I asked about the intelligence or these things they are getting data from, and he said there are at least 1,000 IQs. He said he would imagine the genetics they want is for the cells. Now this is important, John. The genetics they want is for the cells to be supercomputers to interact with this data. They are able to get a visualization of what they are dealing with, but they keep having all sorts of problems of keeping the visualization stable. There's been fires and expensive equipment burned out, and what has happened is he and his research has sort of been taken over by people he cannot argue or complain to. I asked if they is the government, and he said they are more powerful than any government, and he has to do what they tell him to do. That's one section, and granted, these are in between, so if it doesn't seem to run fluidly, then that's the reason why. I'm only using little short excerpts out of a lot of dissertation. Another party says, the man I was just with is on the level or beyond Geordie Rose of D-Wave, but a level of 2 beyond what D-Wave is doing. Israelis have taken what D-Wave is doing and added methamphetamines and nitrous oxide and steroids. That's my best explanation from what I have been told. They are advising the U.S. and European interest. Israel is so far ahead and deep with dimensions and entities that they are having problems understanding and deciphering the data. It's beyond our human comprehension and capabilities. AI and humans tested and hooked up had to do it, and that takes time to know. It is the accurate decodes. They are getting info from somewhere, and it's not our physicality unless other galaxies or star systems are operating with different physics. They are searching globally this is the important part, John. They are searching globally with world governments and secret black sites of all governments for people that can be hooked up and interact with their testing. All right, now I'm going to have to kind of elaborate a little bit on this so people can better understand, but I'm going to read one more part of this and then I'll elaborate on it. Israel does not have the numbers of population or ratio of people per population to be tested and involved in what they're doing. Most, and by the way, the guy is very prejudiced, so just keep that in mind. He says, most Arab genetics do not work. That's why he is so interested in me. My mother is a Cohen, not father, and it is genetic. Genetics matter, race matters, only some genetics can be worked with, so they are searching the world's genetics, and all world governments are making deals and trying to be in cooperation to send their people to Israel, and the USA are 1,000 years ahead of China and Europe and Russia, he told me. John, what we're looking at here, and like I said, I wanted people to see when I was at the conference just a little tiny glimpse of some of the intel that we share back and forth, but to kind of paint the picture here, this company or this one individual that he knows of that started this company in Israel, and the man's about 35 years of age. They have been looking for a certain genetic line of people on the earth that he said have the capabilities to work with these entities that they are working with, and then they're looking for someone they can hook up that they can crossbreed with an AI.
Right.
Yes. And
with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Crossbreed, what does that mean? I'm not sure what that means.
They want to make a half human, half machine, and I think what it is, now I have to kind of venture a little bit, John, on this myself, but my thought is we're probably looking at them bringing about what I would consider to be the Antichrist. These entities, or whoever they're working with, they know that they need someone that can handle this crossbreeding, and according to what he's explained to me in a lot more detail, he said it takes a certain genetics, but he also told me as well, he said that there's a high risk of dying when they actually try to do this. So I guess they've learned that from experiments already. He said, so you have to sign off in the event that something goes, eerily wrong. But oddly enough, though, they're looking amongst those with a Cohen or Levitical background, and he said not many Orthodox Jews are willing to sign up for this testing. But people may not realize, though, how much sense that makes, and why this one particular race. You'd have to, if I were to make the leap that I look at on this, you'd have to go back to the biblical times of Ezra, when Ezra talked about how that they had mingled the holy seed with that of the peoples, and he wasn't talking about the Babylonians. He's talking about the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, etc. And of course, we know that these particular races, during the times of Joshua and Moses, they had mixed in with the Nephilim, according to the book of Numbers 13:33. That is, if you read Hebrew. English, it just says giants. So in that regards there, it was, according to Ezra, it was the priest and the Levites that were the chief ones that had done this sin, mingling the seed together. And so therefore, I believe this is why they're looking for that genetic line amongst their people, and because he said that's the only line that will work. And I'm reminded too, John, about when Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, made the statement not too many months ago. He said that whoever controls the AI will control the world.
I recall that. Yes.
So where was he going with that? Why was he saying that? Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, John, but of course my wife speaks Russian. She's not Russian. She's a Czechoslovakian girl, but I don't know how many years ago it was. Not too long ago, though, the Prime Minister of Russia was on a television program in Russia, and he was being interviewed by this journalist, and she thought it was rather comical. But the issue came up about aliens, and he said to her that if the truth were ever to get out there, it would really send some people's heads swimming. But then he told her, he referred her. He says, "I encourage you to watch the documentary, The Men in Black." And he wasn't talking about the U.S. movie Men in Black. It is a Russian documentary where they document the possibility of aliens in Russia, and also working directly with the government. And, of course, the Prime Minister was saying that this was true. This is not just a fallacy. And, you know, we've had the Defense Minister of Canada also come out and say that, a former Defense Minister of Canada, that is, that they work with these particular aliens. And then, of course, John, my own source right there in D.C., even as of today, still working with President Trump, advising with President Trump, has also confirmed the exact same thing to me as well. He's given me firsthand and secondhand information about this. Secondhand information tells us that, he said that this began many years ago, when the entities had came to the earth and they wanted a certain minerals that we had, and they were given an offer. If we would work with them, they would work with us a little bit, and he said every president has signed on since then. So he said, now that's just the secondhand information. First-hand information was that we do conduct autopsies on aliens. I don't know, maybe that's part of the technology exchange or something, because of the way they're made or something. I'm not really sure why that is. There was no elaboration on that. But the thing is, John, something very strange is going on in the world, and there is a rush, according to my Israeli source, who happens to be with the Mossad. There's a rush to integrate and to find individual, or I don't know if they're looking for a individual or individuals, plural, that they can work with on this genetic AI combination. But it makes you wonder, what are they up to? And, the average Israelis don't know this, John.
Well, of course not. They keep their people in the dark just like we keep our people in the dark. Well, Steve, I got a follow-up on that. I was in Washington, D.C. last week. A week ago today, I was at the Trump International Hotel, 5 blocks from the White House, 1100 Pennsylvania. And I was able to confirm that in about 14 months, civil war will begin in this country. And that's from a person who knows, a person connected to the various intelligence agencies. And not that I need confirmation, but it's always gratifying to get further confirmation, especially from a high-level source. And what I've been telling people, Steve, is this 14 months will fly by. We may not even have 14 months. I believe it'll be precursors, a warm-up session, so to speak, before the actual Civil War begins. And the whole alien situation is real. I've had independent confirmation, independent of your sources, that the satellites circling this globe that we live on, many of them are not from modern earthbound human beings, that many of them are put there very recently by other entities. And what do satellites do? They monitor communications. They can take photographs. They can do other things. And this is real. There's a lot of speculation, Steve, that there's going to be some kind of public announcement by President Trump or President Putin or United Nations about the alien presence that's been here at least since the 1930s that I can tell. I'm not sure why they would do that. There's some belief it might hurt the various world's religions to make this kind of announcement. It's not going to hurt Christianity at all. But some of these other religions might be devastated, couldn't they?
Very.
Steve, you're breaking up there. We didn't get a response. Something's we got a technical issue here. We're not picking up your response here, Steve. Maybe you need to reconnect. Are you back?
No, I'm here, John, but let me hang up and call me right back. Because
okay, we got a break coming up anyway, so this would be a good time. Live radio. That's the nature of live radio. We have issues from time to time. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got a few minutes left in this hour. Back with Steve Pinner to wrap up this hour. Hold on. Tuesday, the 20th of August. We got our last caller here. We got Jill in Maryland. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning. My question is for Steve. Steve, would you agree that the shape of normal human pupils is round?
Well, I've never really thought about that. Oh, yeah, okay, pupils. All right, I'm thinking of eyes for a second there. Yeah, I would think so.
Yes, okay. Well, over the last 10, maybe 12 years, I have been observing that the eyes of some very nice people that I know shape shift from, usually the shape is like an elongated star pattern to round. And I've noticed that when they are in a relaxed state of mind, that's when I see this elongated star-shaped or diamond-shaped pupil. And when they know that they are going to be around other people, their eye pupils are round. And I've asked optometrists about this, and they say occasionally they'll have a patient and only one pupil will be that way, but the other is round. But my experience over the last 10 or so years since I've become aware of this is that both eyes are that way. Have you seen this? And I'm wondering if this has anything to do with alien interbreeding with the human race.
That would be my thought.
Steve, you're breaking up real bad. Well, it looks like, Steve, are you there?
Yes, it seems like the moment
go ahead.
I begin to
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. Go ahead, respond.
That was strange. It's like they're waiting. Anyway, I agree with her. And I do believe it's alien-oriented. There's no doubt about that. And I know an individual that flew here to see me privately that spoke about this, and she even talked about that they continue to do what I scripturally know about, where they pass the children through a veil, not children, but women through a veil in order to bring forth children. And she spoke to me about, and there again, you have to take this at face value. I can't authenticate this, but she talked about how that these women, when they give birth within about 4 months of pregnancy, and the child can grow to an adult, from what this lady's testimony is, within just a few years. I don't know if that's really true or not, but hey, I've heard all kinds of things. I kind of, if you have to put it on a shelf, you just put it on a shelf. I don't know what to think of these things, but I do know that we know the Scripture says, as it was in the days of Noah, so would it be in the coming of the Son of Man. And if you want to know what it was in the days of Noah, you're going to have to go read the literature about Noah's day. But there was definitely inbreeding then, so there's going to be inbreeding again today.
Have you personally seen what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't. But I'm not one that looks at the eyes.
Okay.
So I need to start doing that.
Joe and Steve, we're out of time. Thank you very much, Joe, for the call. Steve, we'll have you back next week.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of August. The prepper tip of the day, for you longtime listeners, it's old news, but for you newbies out there, it may be counterintuitive to hear somebody tell you to be wearing merino wool socks in the hottest part of the year. But that's what I'm doing. It's not just any wool socks, merino wool socks. Merino is a type of wool that, for almost everybody, is not scratchy. I've been wearing them exclusively, summer and winter, for about 19 years now. My feet stay nice and comfortable in the summertime. Yesterday I was out doing manual labor, 92 degrees actual temperature, extremely hot in the sun, very high very high humidity. My feet were quite comfortable. If it was 10 degrees outside, I'd be doing the same thing, wearing merino wool socks. So check them out. You'll be very glad you did. We're patient waiting in the green room, my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who began a quest about a decade or more ago to become quite knowledgeable in anything and everything to help people understand, become part of the doTERRA family, incorporating the doTERRA essential oils into their daily life so that they can enjoy the fun, full, happy, productive life that we all want to have. Good morning, Leon.
Good morning, John. I noticed that there are a lot of disturbances. I heard some of Steve last hour, but only when he talked about AI.
Well, we believe that was intentional, and it's as the old saying goes, you know you're over the target when you're taking flack, and we were definitely taking flack. We're going to start out with a caller here. We got Ty from Texas. Good morning, Ty.
Well, John, thanks for taking my call, and good morning, Leon. I forgot that this was Leon's hour, and I wanted to just throw some extra information on top of your prepper tip of the day. What do you think? Should I call back and we'll talk about that?
No, let's go ahead.
Okay?
We're just getting started here. Go ahead and throw something on top of it.
Well, I've been wanting to call in and bring this up because I love the merino wool socks. They are so legit, although counterintuitive in terms of how most people think about wool as a product. But expanding on that further and I think most of the audience can appreciate the whole concept of your daily carry. Not everybody, of course, is able to or chooses to carry a handgun, but a lot of people make a point about what they put in their pockets, et cetera. So I think it's important for folks, if you're still out there wearing cotton underwear, you're a long ways behind the curve. The merino wool socks are complemented very nicely with a synthetic blend that you can get. I recommend a bamboo synthetic blend. Most of the merino wool socks you'll find are not 100% merino wool, John. I've had a hard time getting that, but you can get really nice blends. And from a prepper survival standpoint of things, you just can't compare. Boy, the interference is heavy today, guys. I'm going to hang up. We'll talk another about this later.
Okay, thank you, Ty. We're having some issues today, technical difficulties, but we're going to hang in there. Okay, well, Leon, I was outside yesterday working hard, manual labor, running running some Cat 5 cable and some coax conduit, which will be wrapping up on the shows over today. Laying on the ground, what was this ground? Rocky ground. Attaching some of the conduit to the building. Well, when I took my shower, went to bed, and I had some lavender in the diffuser to help with my health situation there, to help have a very calming effect, which lavender does, and it helped to have the lavender. I also use lavender on minor wounds. I find it helps the healing effect of the lavender. And I look forward every month to getting my delivery of doTERRA oils so I can incorporate them in everything I'm doing and build up my stock. As I think I mentioned earlier, we used, my wife Marianne would use oils for laundry instead of laundry detergent. 3 drops of lemon, 3 drops of Purify, and the laundry comes out nice and fresh and clean and smelling good with no chemical smells. It's a quest, it's a journey. It's something where I'm always learning, and I keep modern essentials at hand, which I refer to about once a week. I apologize for the sound here, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like it's in and out of being good and being bad. We simply don't know why. We'll do a reconnect here. And it's clear again at the break. Leon, I got some interesting photographs from you. It looks like you're learning how to make knives out of leaf springs from motor vehicles.
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, it was really funny because
well, Leon, your audio just went away also. This is really very, very distracting here to have.
Sure.
You're on telephone, Leon, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, are you in an area with a strong signal, or can you tell?
Oh, it says I have 3 out of 4 bars, and this is Verizon, and this is a normal location I always call from. I'm not on the internet, so I don't know what's happening.
Okay, well, it's good at the moment, so we'll just continue. So you're learning how to make knives and cutting instruments from leaf springs. That's different types of steel have different characteristics, and the knife makers like the steel used in these leaf springs, apparently, don't they?
Yes, sir. I think it's 5160. It's very high. It has a high carbon content. That's what's good for making the steel because of the fact that it's easier to sharpen and it takes an edge well and maintains it. So we didn't go into all the other ones, but they just wanted to show us how you could do it. And so I've always wanted a kukri, and I've owned a couple of them, and they're very effective for batoning and things like that. So I said, I'm gonna make one from scratch. So I was quite excited to do that, and I'm looking at getting a propane forge and making one with this famous person named Charlie Mann. He was a world-renowned bladesmith, and he was he was one of the instructors there, and so we learned a lot. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was a lot of fun to create something out of your hands, out of it. It was almost primal because of the fact that you were reaching into a very hot forge of 2,000 degrees and pulling out a piece of metal that you beat on. So it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
Well, we have in our local preparedness group 2 metal workers. One does projects for a machine shop. Not really high-tech stuff, but kind of ornamental type stuff. The other one does everything from repair earth-moving equipment to make metal pieces that are accurate down to 10,000ths of an inch. And it's my metalworking skills are pretty primitive by comparison, but it's fascinating to see how a rough piece of steel can be fabricated into something beautiful and useful, and it's a true marvelous skill, in my opinion, and one of the more foundational skills in civilization is the ability to work metal, isn't it?
Absolutely, and and I'm going to do more research. And I have a welder and a plasma cutter, and and what was ironic was that they had their plasma cutter crashed, and so now we're back to grinding. And I've watched numerous videos since the class, just cutting it with a regular old saw. So it doesn't have to be high tech, and it doesn't have to be expensive, like you were talking about the ham last hour. But you can keep it very inexpensive and still be effective. And so if we're going to be dealing with horses and metalsmithing, then it would be good to have those skills. And so using what's good about having propane versus charcoal is propane doesn't have a shelf life per se, and so versus having the electrical forges that can only get so hot, and trying to get a hold of charcoal can be used really for wood burning. So I think I'm going to go down the propane route, make my own forge. And I called a secondhand store, and they said, no, we don't get too many forges. And when they do, they come in and then go out within an hour. So I'm like, I'm not going to rely on that. So I may be going back to one of his classes before he goes back home to Hawaii and actually make one from scratch with him and work on those skills. But he had this, at this location in Utah, they have a huge garden. They processed a goat. We had that in soup, and then the cattails and primitive fishing, and we cut down a couple of trees and made lumber that was 6 inches by 6 inches by 8 feet long, and then did solar generation. So it was a very informative weekend, and I had a great time. And I brought back a kukri, and we'll put some scales on it from some exotic woods that I own, and so it was a way to pretty much re-galvanize my motivation to continue prepping, but also realizing it can be artistic at the same time. So people who are creative, they can do that, but they had a garden that was just incredible, and they had zucchini that was just coming out of their ears, so they gave me like 15 pounds and said, oh, we'll give you more if you can put it in your car.
Well, it sounds like a really good time there, Leon.
Yes, sir. It was a great time. And we have a bunch more things coming up in January. They're going to actually process. They're going to hunt an elk, and this is in the middle of winter, so January 3rd in Utah in the mountains. And then we're going to have an opposing force, op war, against us, looking for us after we take the elk. So now we have to maintain security as we're processing an 800-pound beast and bring it back home without getting tagged. So that's going to be one of the other things they're working on, too. That's in January.
Busy. Well, you're going to have plenty of stories to share with us on the cruise, then, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still here.
Well, Leon, I'll be back working on running this conduit here in a couple of hours. We have oils ready in case there's any minor injuries. Take care of the minor injuries. At the end of the day, I'll have oils ready for the diffuser to help create a calming, relaxing environment here in my home. It's a hot, muggy day. We're running in the low 90s here with humidity about the same, 90% humidity. It seems like 100%, quite frankly. And having relaxing music and lavender in the diffuser at the end of a day like that really gives you something to look forward to, doesn't it, Leon?
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, I used oils over the weekend along with other people in the class. And it was funny that, the number of people, this is in Utah, so that's where the headquarters is, and people are saying, yes, my sister's been using them for 8 years, and it was funny that the number of people, especially in the preparedness group, that know the importance of using oils for everyday applications. And then when I told them all the benefits, for a grid-down scenario, they were just astounded. And so it's good to see that knowledge is being passed on. I just want to accelerate it as soon as possible, especially knowing about the 14-month window. So I would like to hear more about what I didn't hear the first 15 minutes of it, but I heard you talk to somebody in Washington, and that's as far as I got.
Well, a week ago today, I was in Washington, D.C. The second Tuesday of every month is what's called Trump Tuesday at the Trump International Hotel, 1100 Pennsylvania. That's 5 blocks from the White House, which is 1600 Pennsylvania. And men and women who support the president get together to exchange ideas, network, all with the intention, of course, of helping President Trump win his next campaign. So I met some people I would never meet otherwise, had some fascinating conversations, and I got private confirmation of the 14-month time frame for civil disorder to commence, what might be called civil war. I'm not sure civil war is a good description of what would be coming. But not that I need confirmation, but it's gratifying to get confirmation from high-level sources. And they intend to do what I intend to do, just keep plugging along, supporting the president, doing their daily professional duties, whatever they might be, and at the same time getting ready for what appears to be inevitable. We may be completely wrong on that. It may not be inevitable. But everything is indicating at the moment that in 14 months we will be dealing with nationwide civil disorder, primarily centered in the densely populated urban areas. Out where I am, Leon, we may see some disruptions in deliveries of some things, but we don't anticipate having anything going on in our neighborhood dealing with Antifa or some of these other communist nut jobs out here where we are. I think they probably got enough sense to stay clear of us because they know us hillbillies all have guns and we're not afraid to use them. Oh, by the way, Leon, I expect to be coming through Metro Denver this fall to see my grandson play football, and we'll be setting up another speaking engagement there in Metro Denver area. Whenever nothing's set up yet, but I'll be working with Paul Martin to do that, probably in October, most likely. It could be September or October. I need to get through those passes before the snow hits in November, but that's my plan. So getting back to Washington, D.C., the people I'm working with intend to go back there once a month. I may or may not be going back on some of those trips and learning more, and which should be beneficial for all of us because I'll certainly share the information that I learn. And it's an ongoing process of gathering information, reporting information, and that's what I do as a broadcast journalist. And I'm happy to be able to do that and get this information to everybody out there. So let's see, we got about 2 minutes before the break here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a lot of things here, including doTERRA essential oils. I use them in my daily life. Leon uses them in his daily life. We've got more listeners that are incorporating them into their daily life as a way to be healthy in a natural sense, without harmful chemicals, without harmful pharmaceutical products. This is what people have been doing to stay healthy for more than 5,000 years. We know that. The records are very clear on that. That's why King Tut had all that stuff in his tomb with the essential oils. We have a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with FrontSite Bonus. Those who are now FrontSite members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of FrontSite, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to FrontSite, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
We're back here on Tuesday, the 20th of August. We're going on a cruise. I'm going. Leon's going. Sam Andrews, well, probably. Nothing definite yet. We're leaving Port Canaveral Saturday, the 9th day of February, returning a week later, the 16th. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be out at sea on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, for you romantic couples out there. Get the details at my website at the Liberty Foundation. Sign up to be part of this cruise. If you don't have internet access, give Betsy Murphy a call. Betsy is our cruise director. She's the wife of my very dear friend Ben Murphy. Betsy's telephone number is 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Every Tuesday, the second hour, we talk about all kinds of things. Our favorite vehicle, the deuce and a half, training, how to make knives, leaf springs from cars and trucks, and of course, doTERRA essential oil. Part of an overall healthy lifestyle, a way to be healthy, stay healthy. I was crawling underneath the house again yesterday here Leon. About 3 foot crawl space. I came out so dirty. It was incredible. But I used the oils to help repel the spiders from me. Lots of spider webs down there. And it worked. I had no issues with spiders. Got the job done running the coax and Cat 5 cable there underneath the house, attaching it to the floor joist. And it worked out okay. Just another example of how having the oils in inventory, ready to go, having the book Modern Essentials at hand to tell me what to do, worked out real nice, and I was very glad I had it. Without it, I don't know what the consequences would have been, because I would have been down there without the oils and with the spiders. So the book I'm referring to... Say again?
And were you working with somebody down there?
No, I was on my own.
Really?
A friend of mine was out. When I got the coax where it was ready to be pulled outside, I had my friend out there to pull while I was pushing on the coax. But when it came to the under the house part, it was just myself. Part of the crawl space has concrete, part of it has dirt, it's a tough environment, but you do what you got to do. So the book I was referring to is titled Modern Essentials. There's 2 editions you're going to want get your hands on. The 5th edition, which says things the Food and Drug Administration will not allow them to say anymore. The 10th edition, which is the most recent one, published about a year ago, has all the new oils in there. You're going to need both editions, the 5th edition and the 10th edition. When you go to my website at thelibertyman.com, you can find the drop-down menu from on my website there. So you just go to products, go to that drop-down menu, and you'll see the doTERRA oils there, right about there. And that's your portal to get into this. Now, if you need more information, if you want specific, detailed information, Leon Green is making himself available for that kind of consultation. And what's that telephone number, Leon?
It's 303-495-2188, and that's time.
303-495-2188. That's Mountain Time. If you don't get a hold of Leon because he's out doing something exciting that I'm jealous of and training how to make knives, leave a message, and he'll get back with you. Leon's a busy guy, and he can't pick up the phone all the time. Just leave a message. He'll get back with you. Now, for some of you, it's not for everybody, but some of you have that bubbly, outgoing personality. You really enjoy talking to people and helping people. You just might want to make doTERRA oils a home business. You don't need to inventory anything. We all heard the horror stories how 30 years ago people got involved in selling water filters and they ended up with a garage full of water filters unsold. That's not the way doTERRA works. You don't inventory anything. Your customer places the order. The oils goes directly from doTERRA to your customer. You never touch the product. You never have to handle the product. Nothing could be more efficient, could it, Leon?
Absolutely. Plus, you don't have to deal with it, unless you're selling retail, which 99% of people don't do. You don't have to deal with state taxes because everything's done by the company. And I've seen the post office and the UPS break items. People have called the company and they send them, they send them new bottles. So, the company's phenomenal in that, in essence, they drop ship for you. You're an affiliate. You help them. You refer oils people to the website, or you can do a 3-way and call them in. And typically within 2.5 days, anywhere in kind of the United States, the oils will get there. And it's only $3.99 to ship it. And I've had 3 people in 10 years ask for overnight, and I asked them why, and they said, "Oh, I'm going in for surgery tomorrow for cancer." And they were motivated.
Oh, that's the motivation. Here's our bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, the 20th of August. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. What we now have, I've been looking for a while to find something to help people every day at my website. And we got it. This is something that will help people every day if you're interested in staying up to date on geopolitical matters. Just scroll down to where it says on the left side there, open source intelligence in bright red letters. It's kind of a real science fiction looking graphic there. Open source intelligence. A friend of mine, retired counterintelligence agent, he scans the news diligently every day to get these postings there. Dozens of articles, dozens of new articles every day concerning the Middle East, Asia, Africa, Europe, United States, all kinds of geopolitical matters. And it's a wonderful update, and I'm real so happy that he granted permission to post it on my website. Also, my website, of course, something that will help you in addition to the oils or energy cleaners. All these things work synergistically to help you be healthy. The energy cleaner helps me every night. I go to bed with minor aches and pains. I wake up pain-free in the morning after having slept as good as I did as a child. You can also. You can with the energy cleaner. So check it out. Make your decision. Place your order. Get the mattress pad to go with it. We got full size, queen, California king, twin size. Everything's right there. You can pay using PayPal. The reason PayPal is so secure is you don't give up your credit card number. That's really some peace of mind there. Credit cards, of course, are accepted. MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check. My address is there. If you don't want to place your order online, you can call my toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Keep in mind I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee on the energy cleaner. Toll-free order line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Leon Green, we're talking about the energy, we're talking about doTERRA oils. And we got a caller in hold here, Leon. We got Kyle in Montana. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, gentlemen.
You're on the air.
Am I on the air?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I just couldn't hear you. I got a question for you, John. When you went back there at that Trump support rally thing, did it come up at all about how detrimental it's going to be to the president to push these red flag laws? Because there are people out here. I haven't run into one, and I've been as far as 150 miles away talking to different people, and I haven't run into one single person that is going to vote for him if he pushes through this red flag laws. And I'm talking actual Trump supporters that voted for him and everything last time. But well, I've ran into literally probably 15 people that have said,
help you out here. Kyle, let me help you out here. It's in the news this morning. I know it's early in Montana on Mountain Time. The president he spoke with Wayne LaPierre with the National Rifle Association the last 24 hours, and he's now changed his position. Apparently he's not going to sign any new anti-gun stuff, including these red flag laws. So that's news as of the last few hours. And I've got the same feedback from various gun guys and gun gals. He can't afford to lose a substantial part of his base. He can't. And so apparently, if anything shows up on his desk, it has to get through the Senate first, which has a small chance of happening. The legislation is supposed to be proposed by Lindsey Graham tomorrow, I believe. But according to what President Trump is saying as of today, it's dead on arrival. So I hope that gives you some peace of mind.
Yeah, it does, John, because you know that we cannot afford a communist, a Democrat, to get into office. But it's interesting to me, their tactics. I find it very deviously ingenious that if everybody gets up in arms and screams and yells and jumps up and down and throws a little baby temper tantrum over these mass shootings, which they are tragic, but when they get politicized like that, then it tends to try to move the conservatives to lose a little bit more of our constitutional rights.
Right.
And I just think it was a trap set and done for Trump. And the reality is that these mass shootings and the ownership of firearms is one of the costs of freedom. So I'm thinking about that one quote that said one.
You're not old enough to remember what it was like before 1969, but I do. We locked up people who would hurt themselves or others. That all changed in the period 1969-1970, where they diagnosed them, they prescribed a psychotropic drug, and they put them back in the general population. We've had firearms that we shoot 12 times in 5 seconds for about 130 years. That's nothing new about firearms that shoot fast with high-capacity magazines. That's old news. You look at two things. What's the same and what's different? The firearms aren't any different. What's different is the people. And what they're doing doesn't work. Diagnosing people that could hurt themselves or others, turning them loose with psychotropic drugs, hoping that the psychotropic drugs will be taken and work if they're taken, it doesn't work. Clearly it doesn't work. And we're paying the price for it now. I had dinner last night with our local sheriff, and I said, Sheriff, here's what universal background checks mean. Here's what it really means. I said, Sheriff, if I was going to loan you my .22 rifle to shoot 10 cans tomorrow, you, Mr. Sheriff, would have to go to a firearms dealer, fill out federal paperwork, pass a background check, and pay the dealer a fee in order for you to borrow my rifle and shoot 10 cans tomorrow. That's what universal background checks mean. And people don't know this. And it's a level of control beyond anything that's acceptable in this country. And it looks like it's dead on arrival, Kyle.
All right. Well, thank you, John. I'm glad to hear that. So that is a relief. I'm very glad. You're right. If we actually took responsibility for what and got rid of political correctness, we could cure a lot of the problems in this country within a year. I just hope and pray that President Trump, when he's not worried about another re-election and gets re-elected, that he can really accomplish a lot more than, and hopefully we can get the House back. We'll see. I don't know. It seems like we've got Republicans bailing like crazy in the House, but I don't know why. Well, anyway, John, have a great show, and I thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate the call. It's a deviation from talking about essential oils, granted, but it was a much-needed deviation. And we go all kinds of different directions during this hour with Leon Green every week. Talking about the oils is important, and something I like to mention, and I know Leon agrees with me, you have to make lifestyle changes. The gentleman I went to Washington, D.C. with, he's a heavy smoker, 2 packs a day. And it's a shame to see that happening, somebody ruining their health with these tobacco products. He knows it's wrong. He knows it's unhealthy, but it's a tobacco addiction. And some things, the oils, and some things, the energy cleaner, can't fix, right, Leon?
Like I've said many times after hearing this doctor say this, even if they're on their deathbed, people are more likely to change their religion than they are to change their diet, which is really terrible to see.
My wife, Dr. Moore, had this saying. It was a framed saying in one of her rooms of her chiropractic office, and something to the effect of, "My food is my medicine." And when I first saw that 30 years ago, I thought, well, that's a silly thing to say. But that was 30 years ago. I've since learned better.
Yes, sir.
Most people would agree with what I thought 30 years ago. The majority of Americans thinking of food as medicine. What a silly concept. But that is reality once you understand what you and I understand, right, Leon?
Absolutely. And I believe it was either Socrates or Plato that said, let thy food be your medicine. So, yeah, garbage in, garbage out. If anybody's into IT, knows that. So yeah, just think about it. If you have a gas vehicle and you put sugar in the engine, what's going to happen to it? So sugar and salt are the two worst substances in America. We consume on average 128 pounds of sugar a year, and we can't understand why we have diabetes has exploded. But in 1900, it was only 12 pounds. So we've more than 10 times increased the amount of sugar, and it has a huge impact on the body. Hypertension, it changes the acidic level of the body, and it just goes. It's a cascading effect. And in these wilderness first responder classes, they talk about the chemistry of the body and how cells start to die, and then tissues, and then organs, and then the whole body collapses. And so, yes, when we see the number of people who die from that, and salt is another acidizer, and it increases acid levels in the body. And so, yeah, hypertension, there's a whole list of that. Increases gout. And so, if we don't change our diet, and I didn't want to be morbid by saying, they'll change their religion versus their diet. You have comfort foods in the South, and, you have the sweet tea and all those things. And so what happens is you have that impact on your body. And there were some people at the training that were kind of big and obese, and some were morbidly obese. And I'm like, how are they going to be able to run down the street, let alone, bug out and try to walk 10 miles or 50 miles back to the house? And that won't happen. So, plus, if you're really huge, you're also a bigger target. That means you have to find larger trees and larger buildings to get behind.
Well, that reminds me when I was in high school, I was sleep deprived in that first class. I think it was English composition. I sat right behind one of the linemen on my football team, and I could take a snooze because he was so huge that I could be behind him and the teacher wouldn't notice. Great guy, by the way. We're still friends. You always will help if you're willing to and make changes, and it comes down to this, Leon. How bad do you want it?
Precisely.
How bad do you want it? I have a female relative who will remain unnamed. She would like to lose weight. She probably could lose 30 pounds. Really, she's a very petite, attractive woman. But then I was able to observe her eating habits. She's consuming soft drinks, for example. You can't be consuming all that sugar in those soft drinks and expect to be height-weight proportionate. Of course, the diet sodas are even worse. They turn off the chemical that tells your brain you can stop eating, so you actually gain more weight when you drink diet soda. But that's my reality. But how bad do you want it? Are you willing to sacrifice? My wife found out very quickly when she went into practice in 1985 that people would refuse, even though their doctor they were paying good money to told them you need to change this or change that in your food consumption, and they would just simply refuse, even though they knew it would be beneficial for their health. It would help them to recover from whatever situation they wanted to recover from, and they would still refuse. And that's an unfortunate fact of life, and it's apparently a rare person that can make that decision and stick to it, isn't it, Leon?
Absolutely. And a lot of times it's a matter of, and I've noticed it with women, if they have issues like that, I've seen that they've changed more than men have, in the fact that they have their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren to live for. But a lot of times when I talk to people on the phone, and I ask them, I said, how bad do they want to live? Do they want to survive? And if they've given up, I tell them, don't even waste their time. If they've already mentally given up on life because of their malady, then it's really a mindset, just like you guys talk about when it comes to firearms. And you have to have the desire to win regardless. If you're playing a fair fight, your tactics suck, as per General McChrystal. And so you have to have the desire implicitly to say, I'm going to make it regardless, and I'm going to change my life for the benefit of my legacy and my family. And if people have given up, then I pray for them, but that's all we can do because they've given up mentally.
Well, they have. they have. It's an unfortunate fact of life, but it is a fact of life. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to be overweight. You don't have to be lacking energy. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to be waking up not had a good night's sleep. And we're helping people here, Leon. You're helping them. I'm helping them learn about health, learn about nutrition, learn about what works, why it works, and so forth. And those who pay heed and act on it, they're the ones who will be healthy, have the energy, and be able to help make America great, with or without any kind of civil disorder or civil war. We need healthy Americans to make America great, don't we?
Absolutely. And yes, it's good to have the skills, but if you're not physically and mentally in the game, then you're more of a liability for your resort, like you described it. And I'm gonna call that my own place the resort now too, instead of the retreat.
Well, it is a resort. This was one of the first resorts open to the public in the state of Missouri. It's never been a farm. It's never been a ranch. I'll sometimes call it a ranch. But it's a resort, and that has a nice, warm, fuzzy sound to it, non-threatening sound, and that's what I want. I want to be welcoming here to my guests and have people come out here to have fun, enjoy themselves, having barbecue or spending an hour or two on the range. And that's what we need to incorporate fun into everything we do, make things interesting, have social aspects of what we do. And preparation does not need to be all doom and gloom, does it, Leon?
Absolutely. I mean, the fun I had this weekend learning how to do the knife making and the solar generation, that had nothing to do with gloom and doom. I mean, people want to watch do things on computers, and kids want to do the games. Well, if you need to get power and you don't have a functional grid, you can still do it from the sun or wind power. So, we were hooking up and generating power from as small as 2 amps all the way up to 40 amps. So it was very informative, and I need to hook up my own 3 solar cells in my truck.
Hold that thought, Leon. We got our last break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 20th of August. Well, Leon, we've been all over the map here, as usual, discussing all kinds of different topics. But the basic premise of this hour is Leon wants to see Americans that are healthy, height, weight proportionate, pain-free, productive, ready to help make America great, which means helping yourself be great. And that will help all of us. The more healthy, productive Americans we have, the better this country is going to be. Right, Leon?
Absolutely, sir.
Well, there you go. That's our opinion. Do you want to join Leon and I in what we do, being productive every day, getting things done, having the energy to do these things, doing things being healthy in a cost-effective, safe manner. If you're taking prescription drugs, you most likely can wean yourself off most of those drugs, one drug at a time, using the doTERRA oils as a substitute, a healthy, cost-effective substitute that can't hurt you. You can get some of these oils in your eye by mistake. Now that would burn, but that's something that goes away with a quick rinse of some fresh water. But other than that, you really can't hurt yourself, can you, Leon?
Absolutely. And when you use the oils, they're pretty simple to use. You can take them topically, you can breathe them, and you can also, with doTERRA specific, and I need to qualify that, you can take our oils internally. And so it's crucial where you get your oils from, and it's very simple how to use them. And so the book, Modern Essentials, makes it very easy. And what's great is you can store them, you can cache them with your other medical supplies and ammo and everything else you have stashed. And I wouldn't keep all your oils in one spot, too, because, just like you don't want to have all your security items in one spot and all your money in one spot, like one bank, then the same thing is diversify so you have backups. Even if you have to get to your resort or your retreat by walking, you can pick up some of these items along the way. And so I'm reading a book right now, another book on how to cache. And so I would definitely recommend you get the oil so you can have some of these things with you along your way home or on the way towards your retreat, because they'd be essential on the way, because you may be sick, you may be shot, you may be cut, you may be all sorts of issues, but you can use the oils to protect you for sickness and also emotional too. You will be completely distraught when everything hits the fan. You may have lost a loved one, and so having these oils to help you would be definitely a benefit.
Absolutely. Helpful in normal times and not optional during a crisis. So that's what they are. You can get the details at my website on the doTERRA oils. Get yourself a copy of the book, Modern Essentials. If you need a private consultation, just give Leon a call at 303-495-2188. If you want to start a little business on the side, it could become a big business. Leon can help you with that too, can't you, Leon?
Absolutely. And I look forward to it. Matter of fact, Vincent's coming up next in a week and a half, so I just booked my Airbnb out there, and I'm excited about doing that.
Sounds like fun. Leon, we'll have you back next week. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Tip for the day, get your medical supplies, your energy cleaning, your essential oils. Now, while you can, your firearms ammunition. Never ever give up your guns. Please do have a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.